I'm going to begin our discussion of the skeletal system with Chapter 7, and then we'll go back and pick up Chapter 6 and go on with Chapter 8 after that. But first of all, we're going to look at the structure, and you will be learning with lab all 206 bones. And in this unit, we're going to discuss all the bones and any cartilage that is associated with the bones. And there's two main parts of the skeleton that we're going to discuss, the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. And you can see here in this graphic, the orange color, that is the axial skeleton, and the lighter tan color, that is the appendicular skeleton. Now, the axial skeleton, that is right down the middle with your head, neck, and trunk bones. And it's what encases your body cavities to protect the organs that are in those cavities. You have your skull, which is 22 bones that provide a covering for your brain and form your face. Then you have your vertebral column, which is 33 bones, and 24 of those are to protect the spinal cord. And then that forms the sacrum and coccyx at the end, which is part of your pelvis. And then you have your thoracic cage or your rib cage with 12 pairs of ribs, the sternum, the part of the vertebral column that the ribs attach to protect the lungs and the heart and other organs that are found there. The appendicular skeleton, this is the bones of your limbs. So it's your bones in your pectoral girdle, which is your shoulders and your upper limb, and then the pelvic girdle, which is your hips and your lower limb. And you have these girdles for your limbs to attach to. The pectoral girdle, that's just your clavicle and scapula. And your upper limb, of course, you've got quite a few bones there. You've got the humerus at the arm, and then the forearm is the radius and the ulna. Then you have your wrist and your hand that has different bones in it that we'll be going through. The pelvic girdle, this is your hips. You have two pelvic bones and a sacrum that we call the pelvis. And then the lower limb, you've got the femur in the thigh, and then you've got the tibia and the fibula in the leg, and then, of course, your ankle and your foot. Now, there are markings of bones on the bones, and there's a chart in your book that you can refer to. There are depressions, little grooves, there's openings, sometimes it's holes, sometimes it's bigger. There's projections, sometimes they're rounded projections, sometimes they're more like a toothpick or a knot on the bone, and you're going to need to know these. And as we go through lab, you'll be learning a lot of them. A depression is usually a place where you're going to have a pathway for blood vessels and nerves. It's also going to be found in your joints, which are articulations between bones. Then there's the openings that let things like nerves and blood vessels go through the bone, and then the projections. And those are usually where your tendons and ligaments attach. And this is all the markings. It's table 7.1 in your textbook. You can see the facet and the fovea and the fossa and others as you go through all these different markings. You need to familiarize yourself with those.